Welcome back to Unlimited Recaps. Today we'll be diving into a mystery thriller film from 2006 titled The Da Vinci Code. The movie starts with a Catholic monk killing a curator at a posh parish gallery, then making his getaway before the police can get there. While looking for the priory's keystone, which is essential to destroying the Holy Grail, the monk murders the curator. Before passing away, the curator arranges his body in the manner of Da Vinci's Vitruvian Man and leaves codes and hints throughout the exhibit. The case's lead police captain gives his lieutenant instructions to call in a well-known American symbologist who happens to be nearby so he may assist with the body's examination. Inquiring about his presence in the curator's planner and whether they had met that day, the lieutenant confronts the symbologist. The curator was supposed to attend the coffee gathering, but the symbologist adds that they never did. The symbologist arrives at the gallery and is told to wait for the police captain, who shortly shows up and introduces himself. The symbologist, who is afraid of enclosed spaces, sees symbols throughout the museum on their journey to the crime scene and is hesitant to use the lift. Nevertheless, he is forced to go to the crime scene and is horrified to see the curator's corpse dressed as the Vitruvian Man. According to the police captain, there are other markings and symbols all over the body. One such writing is a cryptic message and the name of the symbologist that can only be seen under black light on the floor. The captain believes the symbologist might have been a part in the killing. Just then, a police station representative shows in and gives the symbologist a phone, claiming he have a message from his consulate. A voice on the phone tells the symbologist that he is in serious danger and suggests that he not assist the police in deciphering the codes and symbols that the curator left behind. Following the call, the police captain observes the symbologist's nervousness and inquires about the message from the embassy. Lying, the symbologist claims he has to fly back the following morning due to a personal situation. Then, requesting a break from the investigation, he heads to the toilet. The police station representative confesses to us inside the lavatory that she is actually the curator's granddaughter and not an officer. She tells them that everything written at the crime scene must be understood because her grandfather left them a message. Prior to continuing, the symbologist's granddaughter discovers a tracking device on his coat and suggests that he throw it outdoors to divert the attention of the police, who then follow the device as it drops in a dump truck. The symbologist and the granddaughter return to the crime scene after the police have left, looking for further hints. They eventually find the keystone concealed under the artwork of the Mona Lisa and manage to get out of the gag. After arriving at a depository bank, the two go inside a safety box that the curator had placed for his granddaughter. They discover a wooden cylinder with the papyrus message within. The granddaughter acknowledges that she has no idea what the word might be, but the symbologist reveals that it can be unlocked by aligning the dials to make a word. The bank manager walks in and tells them to use a secret tunnel to get out as the cops are on their way while they talk about the problem. The bank manager clarifies that they have a special arrangement with top clients to give an escape plan in an emergency when they ask why he is helping them. Confused, they ask. After forcing them into the forest, the bank manager tries, somewhat surprisingly, to kill them by stealing the cylinder. Luckily, the granddaughter and the symbologist are able to flee. The cylinder is thought to contain the secret to finding the Holy Grail, which conceals the truth about Christianity and jeopardizes the legitimacy of the Vatican. They are now in serious danger for their lives since they have the cylinder. The symbologist suggests that the granddaughter contact his buddy, a specialist fixated on the Holy Grail, who may be able to clarify the curator's message for them, as the granddaughter is still perplexed about the circumstances. Soon afterward, in search of explanations for the enigmatic hints they have been discovering, the main characters proceed to the residence of a well-known Holy Grail specialist. Their entire attention is drawn to the elder, learned man who is the expert as he starts to describe the long-standing mysteries and myths surrounding the Holy Grail. He signals to the granddaughter to close her eyes and leads her in a vivid visualization exercise. He urges her to visualize the well-known Last Supper tableau, which has been captured in innumerable works of art. The expert asks her if she sees a woman among the disciples as she conjures up the famous gathering. She answers at first that they are all men, which is what most people believe when they watch the scene. However, the expert gives her a knowing look and tells her to pay more attention to the person seated next to Jesus. She realizes with some hesitation that this person isn't a guy at all when she begins to notice the small details that she had previously missed. The expert discloses that the person sitting next to Jesus is, in reality, Mary Magdalene, a woman. He continues by explaining that she has been wrongly portrayed throughout history, frequently being shown as a remorseful prostitute, but in actuality she played a far more important and sacred role. He claimed that she was not only a disciple of Jesus but also his spouse. Furthermore, Mary bore the lineage of Christ herself when she was pregnant at the time of the crucifixion. Their perception of all they had assumed to be true about Christian history is upended by the expert's revelation. He goes on to say that although the Holy Grail is commonly thought to be a chalice that Jesus used during the Last Supper, the true Grail is actually Mary Magdalene. The Priory of Sion, an ancient and reclusive organization, has worked tirelessly through the ages to protect this secret, concealing both Mary Magdalene's true identity and the existence of her descendants, who they believe still walk the earth. In this version of history, she is the vessel that carried the bloodline of Jesus, making her the true Grail. Records of Mary Magdalene's life after the crucifixion became rare, almost as if she disappeared from the face of the earth. The expert said that her absence was not coincidental, but rather the product of a conscious attempt to shield her heritage from those who would try to eradicate it. He continues by saying that a group of individuals going by the name Opus Dei are attempting to destroy the Holy Grail in order to maintain the Vatican's legitimacy. The granddaughter gradually comprehends why her grandfather left her the cylinder after hearing the tales. She currently feels that it is her responsibility to keep this bunch of individuals away from the Holy Grail. The granddaughter, on the other hand, still doesn't know how to unlock the cylinder and locate the Holy Grail. The two then start talking about how to locate the Holy Grail precisely. The expert helps them go before it's too late, as the butler abruptly informs them that the cops are going to enter the house. The symbologist examines the cylinder carefully while in the air in an attempt to uncover additional hints, codes, and symbols that will lead them to the Holy Grail. They come over a clue that points them in the direction of the London Temple Church. Without delay, the specialist approaches his pilot and gives him the order to travel to London. The cops are waiting to pursue the granddaughter and the symbologist as soon as they land at the airport in London. They are still able to get out of the airport, though. Without delay, the two go out to discover more hints and determine whether the Holy Grail is located at the Temple Church. However, the granddaughter believes that they are focusing on the incorrect area. The butler and an Opus Dei member chase after them and attempt to murder them the next instant. The expert is caught by the butler, who then conceals him in the car's trunk after the symbologist and the granddaughter manage to flee from them. They are heading towards a residence where the Opus Dei member is left by the butler. The butler then assures him that his assistance would be appreciated and that he will be safe. The Opus Dei member regards the butler as the teacher and expresses gratitude for his defense of the Vatican. Their master, the teacher, wants to reveal and destroy the Holy Grail. He orders the Opus Dei to search for the Holy Grail at all costs, even if it involves taking the lives of innocent people. The true teacher is then shown to be an authority on the Holy Grail, and he murders everybody who he believes could stand in the way of his goal. Following their conversation, the teacher gives the butler alcohol. The butler dies at that very moment after consuming the alcohol right away. However, the granddaughter and the symbologist are still working hard to decipher the clue written in the cylinder and figure out what it means. They travel to Westminster Abbey, the site of Isaac Newton's grave, where they believe the Holy Grail is hidden. It is rumored that Isaac Newton was once the Priory's grandmaster. The granddaughter discovers marks on his tomb that are recognizable to them and resemble the cane and shoe that the Holy Grail expert employs. They are searching for further clues and symbols. When the expert with the gun appears, they are stunned. He intimidates the granddaughter into deciphering the cylinder's cryptex in order to uncover the Holy Grail. However, the granddaughter is still unsure of the word that could be needed to unlock the cylinder. The symbologist yells that the granddaughter truly has no idea what to do as the expert presses her by pointing the gun in her direction. He begs the expert for some time to reflect, thinking he might be able to crack the cryptex and figure out the key that will unlock the cylinder. The symbologist begins to concentrate on the events, codes, and symbols that he can think of that are related to the Holy Grail and cylinder. Finding the appropriate word and solving the puzzle takes time. In the end, he informs the expert that he is unable to crack the cryptex and that the word he entered into the cylinder was incorrect. For this reason, the cylinder bursts and turns to ash. The expert loses it and declares that they will never discover what is beneath the Holy Grail. As the expert is ready to shoot the grandchild, the cops arrive and take him into custody for starting all of the trouble. The symbologist gives the expert a sidelong glance as they prepare to leave with the cops. The expert discovers that the symbologist has already located the Holy Grail, unlocked the cylinder, and located the cryptex. Then, yelling that the symbologist, upon discovering the whereabouts of the Holy Grail, ought to prostrate himself before it. The symbologist tells the granddaughter that the Holy Grail is located at Scotland's Rosslyn Chapel and hands her a little scroll with its location on it after leaving the spot. The two set out immediately and locate the chapel. The granddaughter remarks that she has been to the chapel before, and that it appears to be familiar to her. She claims that because of the tragedy that befell her and her family when she was only 4 years old, she is unable to recall all the specifics. Her grandfather took her from the incident and reared her alone. Her entire family perished, and she was the only one who survived. Her grandfather forbade her from looking for her family when she was growing up, and he never told her what happened to them or why the disaster happened. She confesses that she fled away from their home and never came back since her grandfather sent her to a boarding school and would become upset if she looked for them. The following instant, They discover a subterranean entryway that is hidden beneath several layers of debris and dust. They find a treasure trove of old, yellowed documents as they make their way down into the dimly illuminated chamber. Shelves lining the walls are stocked with old artifacts, maps, and historical manuscripts. The symbologist notices an old, worn folder among the clutter and picks it up. He discovers something within that might, at last, bring the granddaughter the answer she has been looking for. The symbologist leafs through the pages and finds an old newspaper piece about her parents' horrific car tragedy, which surprisingly included the granddaughter. Her mind struggles to comprehend that she had been thought to be dead for all these years, and her heart rushes as she reads the story with the terrifying headline, "No survivors in fatal accident." She gradually realizes that her grandfather, who had reared her, had taken her in to protect her, not only to act as a guardian. Her grandfather was a prominent member of the Priory of Sion, an old secret order entrusted with preserving Mary Magdalene's lineage, the symbologist explains. Confirming her concerns, the granddaughter, clearly frightened, finds it difficult to process the gravity of the news. She is not your typical woman, she is the only surviving descendant of Mary Magdalene and Jesus Christ, the last link in an ancient bloodline long believed to be lost to history. The realization that all she has ever known has been based on a lie makes her mind spin. The granddaughter's thoughts drift back to the surface, a mix of incredulity, perplexity, and a sense of destiny. They emerge from the subterranean room to find themselves facing a silent formation of cloaked figures that identify themselves as Priory members. Their somber stares lock on her, but one of them moves forward, pulling down her hood. When the granddaughter sees the face of an elderly woman, her true grandmother, she gasps. The grandmother comes forward, her eyes brimming with sorrow as she explains that her grandfather, the curator, had always been her guardian, keeping her safe from those who would harm their revered legacy. As her grandmother embraces her and tells her that she has finally returned home, the granddaughter listens in awe. She is the last hope for the Christ bloodline, and her journey has only just begun. It is at that moment that the significance of her ancestry becomes evident. The symbologist and the granddaughter part ways after that. While the symbologist goes back to Paris, the granddaughter stays at Rosslyn Chapel to spend more time with the Priory and her true grandma. The symbologist wounds himself with a knife in his hotel bathroom, and blood flows into the wash basin like a sword. He now understands the cryptex in the cylinder to imply anything. He heads straight for the Great Gallery, where he finds the rose line, proving that this is where the Holy Grail is indeed located. Beneath a glass pyramid beneath the starry sky was its hiding place. As he bows down before it, the Grand Gallery's hidden subterranean chamber containing Mary Magdalene's tomb is revealed. If so, please remember to subscribe, like, and share it in order to see more fantastic movie recaps. I appreciate you watching. Appreciate